these are the underlying coefficients they use for those domains.
Yeah.
So effectively, like we did for the hearing, like we did for that hearing distribution for stroke, which I'd pulled up was saying is probably a lot less common than we were originally looking at when we looked at the ChatGPT. That's also what the clinicians said to us, but it's still a significant, like 5% or something of the population that have a stroke. But what you then end up with is you'll generate an individual, a population that have that distribution.
Yeah.
And from that population with that distribution, you then calculate their average utility.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know, like, how can you run that?
Because you just feed it into this equation. You feed each patient into this equation, and it will give you each patient's utility using this formula. And then the utility for that population is just the average in the population.
But how?
So each patient, you generate, say, 10,000 patients using that distribution, with the distribution of symptoms. Use this formula and these coefficients to estimate, given those symptoms that they've had because of the MI or stroke, what would their utility be? And then you can compare that utility with the utility of a stroke or MI patient.
Yeah, but like the problem is, like, I can't really find, for example, like from my understanding, I thought like every of those things, I go to the NICE document and I will find the utility.
No, you don't find those in the NICE document. You just ask ChatGPT. Let me. Where's my phone? Because I've got the message nicely kind of laid out for that.
Because like the data set is like.
Second, I'm just brief. Let's do it that way. You have a desktop. Do just something, put that there, and put this here. Then I can share. And it says Google. So the question was, what is the distribution? Or we'll do vision. We'll do vision loss. I said I reckon it would be nothing. What was it? Vision loss severity over time from acute.
Yeah, I tried that, but it didn't have this type of source. It's more like case study. It's not like over time and all that. So.
But what it should give you, probably with this for. See, this will probably come up with nothing.
Then I don't know, like the data I collect so far, I don't know how to actually use it to generate the data we need, and I think that's major part.
Well, I think the thing is, a lot of what you've done with the data you've collected so far is comparison points with what you will find with this. So the data that you've collected so far, and also in terms of the understanding of the process, because I think this is a lot of what we've been playing with so far. Is when we started, we didn't really have a methodology for how we would do this. This is taking ages. Let me pick one that's not going to take a long time. Finding out. Oh, it's doing something. There is no established distribution. So that's just nothing. That's just because you don't lose your eyesight from myocardial infarction. But for example, pain is definitely one. So when you do pain, what it should give us you want a page on that, don't you?
Mm.
This is plus down on the bottom.
Okay.
Maybe it's yeah.
Yes.
This is behaving quite differently than when I ask it.
Yeah. This is page 1.
But I thought that we were focusing on the stroke, not the.
Yeah, but you can do this. Do exactly the same thing for stroke. So you just ask for those 8 domains. So you just ask 16 versions of this question. The 8 for stroke, 8 for myocardial infarction. It should come up with this this one in a second. I'd say probably the free version of this is better behaved. This is painful.
But
maybe it's giving a better answer. Let's just get this to table so we can. It is actually. Wow. Might be better going on there. I'm logging out because this is horrific. It's high.
You can put another part.
Let me try a different. Instant. So you have, for example, these tables laid out with from the beginning over 48 hours, and basically what this is saying, and this has it laid out as a graph. So you have that distribution of what you expect the pain to be for of patients, non-mild, moderate, severe, over the 48 hours. So looking at this, basically this is saying pain from AMI lasts for 48 hours. So you have a patient, you have an AMI that then lasts for 48 hours. That then this is the distribution on the pain. This is then the distribution on the pain. And bear in mind, at each of these, you end up with a different utility over time, because the quality adjusted life year is the utility over a full year period. So you end up with, this gives you the disutility of the 48 hours following acute myocardial infarction. On the pain one, you do the same for those other 8 domains. So like vision loss is, there's no vision loss, is just whatever it was before. Which would generally be full health for these guys, I guess, because unless you're kind of, for at least for your perspective, probably the same for those. And that you also have them like the dexterity and mobility. So this has the pain. What you'll probably find on this is if you do instead of pain, you do distribution of what was it called? What's the name of the mobility one? I'll just do it as mobility.
But I don't know why we need to collect it for the time, because for
quali you need utility over time. So like this for 48 hours, this will have, if you look at it, like basically at the onset, it's very, very powerful, very, very severe for the first 2 hours, and then goes off for those 48 hours. So this gives you like basically 2 days of very, very low utility, but then when the pain's died off, for the other 363 days of the year, you're not in pain. and a QALY is the area under the utility graph over time.
But I thought like right now we're collecting like utilities for like for example vision loss.
Yeah, but what we were saying with this is for the utilities, what we have found with that a Huey is you have the utilities now. Your utilities come from whether they have no pain, mild pain, moderate pain, or severe pain, and you feed that into the Huey formula.
I don't know how to. That's the problem. I don't know that can be like matched on it because, for example, like we can know like severity for different kind of level of vision loss, for example, but like it will represent certain number of utility value, but you can't really mapping that towards like, for example, this mild it's equals to HUI 3 vision part of level 1. You know, it's not.
I understand what you're saying with there, but just assume it. Just assume it's particularly as this is on a 9 to 10 level. Generally they're aimed for that, and also for that. This is also why you want the other utilities. What you can. Is from those other utilities, you can see from those other utilities if this is doing a good job of estimating, or if it's saying there's too little utility or too much utility. Then within that you can refine within this if you've done a good job of matching those in. But what I would say from this is most of what you're looking to do with this thesis is just show that it's possible and that we can actually capture it. So and how good a job that kind of assumption actually does. So if you have and that's also why focusing on myocardial infarction and stroke. So you have two. The stroke long chronic acute myocardial infarction is a short term with some longer term angina is like one of the follow-ons from AMI, isn't it? So you have AMI is like 2-3 days of AMI. It doesn't kill you have the pain for that, but then the longer term consequences are the angina. So but you can capture all that within, break these into this, just assume what mild 1 to just rescale these. So if it's mild 1 to 3, that's a 2 on the pain those and run with that to see, because because they're in a database, those numbers can always be adapted later to get them more precise. But the process from in this thesis is to get as much of it kind of covered as you can and describe how good a job it does or doesn't. And even if it's not doing a good job in certain places, that's still within your thesis. Is you can explain what follow-up approaches to make it better.
But because I do discuss this too with the AI tool as well, but like I don't know if you can just assume, because this utility value basically is like the equation that I just showed, like it's like summarized of like different 8 different domains, and they have like their final utility. I don't know if you can say like if this utility is like for in this case study, like in a document it says like let me show you, it might be easier to just say it if I show the can you see the
That's correct.
the Excel file or
it just says you've started screen sharing. Yeah. Got you.
For example, this is the vision loss one, and for different severity, like different vision loss type, and you match certain like HUI3 value. But this is like a combination of like the 8 different domains, and it doesn't really say like, I don't know if we can say like for example this match this. It means like this means level 1 of vision loss in the HUI3 like questionnaire, because this is a summarize of 8 different domains together, and I don't know if like it's gonna be, you know, does that make sense?
Yeah, but the thing with that, this is mild vision loss. You have that questionnaire. You have the actual answer for that within the is the questionnaire, which is literally described as mild vision loss.
No, they only shows like the final value. They didn't really show like, for example, this is like level 1 of vision loss plus level 2 of like hearing loss plus blah, blah. It only gives the final value. That's why I'm really anxious about, because
Well, 1 second. Let me just pull one of these up, for example, and give you an example. So the Huey images. I'm trying to find the actual questions.
yeah, the questions describe it, but I don't know if we can just assume that match, because the utility value is like a combination calculation out of the
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. You're not using the utilities. You're just saying mild vision loss is the group is the group with the distribution of mild.
Then
The coefficients that are in that table give you the utility when you run them into that formula. But you're saying you have 30% people with mild vision loss, for example, or 60% with some mild vision loss. So they're 60%. They're the 60% of people on your Huey 3 end up with mild vision loss. And then what you have fed into that, what you have in that is the attribute level of what I was just looking for. I can't tell you questionnaire. Question.
because
Where do we have the new formats by age? Does it have this one, is it? Can't see. We've got is the question? Are there questions in that? If you just scroll up, is there questions in that page?
yeah, I think they do say stuff like it's like a test for like I don't think this one, like this one.
There you go. So the vision.
Yeah, this is for the vision.
So this is how they define their. This is how they define their levels.
Yeah. I think the main question I have so far is like, this is like the questionnaire of like HUI3, right? So like
Yeah.
the utility value we have is like the summarize of like all those, like for example, like the patient will do the
Yeah, but it is, but that's that formula that does this summation of it.
Yeah, but the main concern I have so far is like this is like the one that was shown in the document mostly, like the final
Yeah,
like
but for
overall.
what you're doing from the thing is saying what percentage of people have vision 1, what percentage of people have vision 2, what percentage of people have vision 3, what percentage of people have vision 4, what percentage have vision 5, and what percentage have vision 6.
We don't know that. That's the problem.
That's what you just got from ChatGPT, though. That's what I just showed you from ChatGPT. When you ask it that question, it tells you how patients are distributed in their vision loss.
No, I think that's only like the distribution is for like for some mild, it's like how many population of it, like out of the. But this is like only.
That's how many people answer that question with that amount of vision loss.
No.
That's what you get for the utility if you answer level 1 on your vision loss question.
The problem is like the vision, like the value we have for utility value is like, for example, one of the patient can be like this,